Hey guys, what's going on? It's Brandon. Called the Chevrolet store again today. It's been, let's see, 2 Saturdays ago, and today's Wednesday. So it's been like 11 days or more. So called the Chevrolet store today just to check in again. Guy was on the phone on the other line. I left a message. He calls me back. He says General Motors has gotten back to them on the SPAC case and what General Motors wants to do. And I want to be clear here. I'm not disgruntled with the dealership, okay? The dealership isn't the one who's calling the shots on this. General Motors is. I just want you to understand how pointless what they're about to have me do is, okay? So General Motors wants the vehicle to be brought into the dealership. They're going to put dye in the gasoline. Then they're going to let the car run. And then they're going to determine, is that gasoline getting into the crankcase? Okay, because then they're going to search the oil for the dye. Now, here's a question. I was very clear that, and this is going to be for anybody pretty much, and because the thing is, we don't check our oil until next fill up. Okay, so when you're filling up with gas is when you check your oil. If your oil's raised while you're filling it up with gas, it's not the new gas going in that's the problem. The new gas going in, chances are, is fine. It's the last batch of gas that was the issue, that was causing the pressure pumps, the pumps to malfunction. Now, here's the interesting thing. They say that if the dye does get in to the crankcase, then they determine that the car needs a new high pressure pump. So basically, what General Motors has done is they've invented a protocol which is pointless. So for instance, like let's say you were to check your oil halfway through a tank of gas and your oil's raised. So you're able to catch the bad tank of gas, right? And you take that tank of gas and that car into the dealership and they run the test and they determine, aha, we found some dye in the oil because that gas with the water is getting into the oil, okay? General Motors is then going to order them to tear your motor apart and put in a new pump. When it's not the pump that's the problem. It's bad gasoline. And we've had plenty of people confirm this. It's not the pump. There's nothing wrong with the pump. Now, granted, there can be things wrong with the pump. If the pump goes bad, it can bleed oil or bleed gasoline down into the crank, down through the valley somehow. It's possible. But anyway. But at least General Motors is going to take it in. Now, here's what gets even more interesting. So let's say they do all this stuff. They dye my gasoline. And they check the oil and the oil is clear. Then what? Are they going to reimburse me for the gasoline that gets burnt? Is General Motors going to reimburse me for the gasoline that they have to burn to sit there and conduct their tests? Is General Motors going to change my oil? Probably not. So this whole thing is just, it's a headache. And what we'll end up doing is we'll end up proving that this is an issue later on another car or on this car later, where we'll put a little bit of water into gasoline on purpose potentially and show that it does indeed, after it's had time to set, the water and the gasoline set and do the phase separation. We'll be able to put that into one of these cars and demonstrate. We might do it on an anonymous car, because otherwise General Motors might go on the offense and say, oh, we're going to void the warranty on that car because they're just going to be jerks about it. When the reality is we're proving what the real problem is. It has nothing to do with the fuel pumps being flawed. It has to do with the fuel architecture, with the V, the T that separates to the two high side pumps, and where that separation occurs, the two phases are likely to follow the opposing phase in two different directions, which means the car ends up putting the richer running bank of fuel wash down the sides of the cylinders into the crankcase. So General Motors got quite the magic trick figured out to try to prove that they're not doing anything wrong, that their car is fine. We'll be able to prove it. So we just got to jump through the hoops, and that's fine. At least they're doing something. See ya.